Fighting Pony God. The Fight of an Era. Hey, yo, Discord! The Draconiquist looked over his shoulder to see Anon. His eyes widened just a tad, as did his smile.
Oh, Anon the human! What did you need, my green fellow?
I want to beat up Faust. Discord blinked.
Huh?
Anon stood waiting. Discord took a moment to compose himself, coughing into his fist and clearing his throat.
You?
Discord pointed at Anon, who gave a nod.
Want to fight Faust, the mother of all creation?
The human nodded once more. The god of chaos and all that was disorderly was very much confused.
Why, though?
The human shrugged. Don't like her.
You don't like her?
Yeah, I don't like her. Or the way that she runs things. Discord nodded.
Okay, my green friends. I can understand and respect that.
He scratched his chin.
But why are you telling me this?
Anon crossed his arms. Because you know how to get me to her. Discord raised a brow.
I do?
I know you do. Discord stood there, unblinking for a few moments, unnerved by the idea of Anon knowing his capabilities. He then scratched his head.
Well, yeah, okay, I know how, but why would I help you, human?
Because I want to beat her up. Anon glared, an odd smile on his face.
Yes, you've already told me that, but if anything, that dissuades me from helping you.
Anon cocked his head. But why? I thought you didn't like ponies and the rules.
Yes, but Faust is also the reason anything exists.
Discord hissed out silently. Oh, come on, it would be funny. Discord shook his head.
Yes, it would be, but I'd rather not get screeched at by Miss Sun-Kissed Flanks, simply because I let her friends pick a fight with Mommy Dearest.
I'd body her. Like, I would straight up dunk on her, no cap. Anon nodded to himself. Discord gave a sigh and patted Anon on the shoulder.
Oh, your human colloquialisms evade my understanding, friend.
Anon scoffed, removing Discord's claw from his shoulder. He crossed his arms, deciding to tilt his head to the side. So, are you gonna help me, or what? Discord mumbled something about Anon needing help that he couldn't provide, before allowing himself to massage his forehead.
Fine.
He clicked his tongue.
But I'm not responsible for any bodily harm caused by your tomfoolery.
Anon nodded. Aight. Discord then snapped his fingers. Anon popped into existence somewhere that he clearly couldn't truly comprehend, but that didn't really matter to the human. What did matter was that his target was a few meters away from him, her back towards him. He began stalking towards her. The omnipotent creature known as Faust sat on an ethereal cloud, currently enjoying one of the many pastimes that she had access to. That, of course, being Animal Crossing. Being an all-powerful creator came with many perks, one of which was having access to some of the creations born from her fellow celestial beings and their children. Although she did have to sacrifice a few villainous souls, a few being a dozen thousands, to her divine friend of the human realm to obtain such a creation. A pretty steep investment to most, but to her, it was totally worth it. Faust then let out a giggle. She had just started to play and was editing her island, which she named Pen, when she felt a fist crash down onto her head. She then proceeded to have an involuntary nap. Well, that was easy. It was indeed. The god of creation, the mother of all, the Faust, went down like a sack of potatoes before she even knew Anon was there. So much for omniscience. He poked her a few times with a foot. Nothing happened. Anon crossed his arms and waited for a few moments in silence before he began to tap his foot on the ground in impatience, its strange surface not unlike water in its reaction with his tapping. It was dry? It rolled off his foot without soaking his shoe, which was very strange, and he decided to entertain himself while waiting for, well, something. Anything, really. Now what? I didn't really plan this far ahead.
Yeah!
Anon was tackled from behind, the now apparent doppelganger of Faust vanishing with a poof. Anon felt the weight of the immortal settle on top of him as his face bounced off the surface of the floor.
You dare attack me? That's not very nice.
Anon's breath was stolen due to Faust constraining his breath. She'd put her entire weight on his back, which sucked.
Well, what do you have to say for yourself, sir?
He couldn't speak, so he tried catching her with his arms. After that failed, he decided on rolling over, to which he let out a startled squeak. God, woman, you're heavy. He huffed, his back now pinning the alicorn, before she wrapped her hooves around him and gave a flap of her wings, causing one of them to whip right into his eye. Anon then let out a screech. Oh, my eye!
That's what you get for calling me fat, you dotard!
I don't even know what that means, you hag! He elbowed her in the withers, causing her to let out a pained oof, as he tried standing up and shaking her. However, because of her weight and his shaky footing, he only succeeded in accidentally falling back and slamming her on the ground.
Ow, get off of me!
Faust squirmed before remembering that she was in fact a god. Her face blossomed red before she simply willed him off of her.
There.
She held him down with her magic as he squirmed. She huffed, out of breath.
I should work out more often.
She shook her head before sitting on her haunches.
Now tell me what you think you're doing here, human.
He growled. I'm here to beat you up! She blinked.
Uh-huh. And how's that working out for you, mister?
I had you on the ropes! She shook her head and chuckled.
No you didn't. I didn't even have to bring out my quasar beam.
Anon seemed to freeze. The idea of someone shooting him with a celestial object did not make him comfortable. Anon paled, sweating starting to glisten on his forehead as he gulped. He ceased his flailing. Quasar beam? He squeaked, and she nodded cutely.
Uh-huh. It's my secret weapon against foreign invaders within my realm. Well, I guess it's not a secret now, but that's fine. It's not like you'll tell anyone. Right?
She leaned up to his face, thousands of untold horrors reflecting within her eyes. No, ma'am. She smiled and gave a hop.
Good. You know, you're very lucky.
She started circling around Anon, which made him nervous.
If I hadn't recognized you, you wouldn't be here right now.
Anon's shiver was ignored. She then stopped.
But once again, you're very lucky. My daughter is quite smitten with you.
She created a table set out of nowhere, taking a seat.
She keeps going on and on about you every chance that she gets, especially when we have our tea.
Faust clicked her tongue and tea appeared on the table. She took a dainty sip from her cup, letting out a sigh before looking at the downed human, whose face seemed stuck in a state of perpetual confusion. She gave a dismissive wave.
But focusing on the now, I have to ask, what was your plan? To kill me? To usurp me? Or perhaps even steal my switch?
She let out a mock gasp.
You villain!
Lady, I just wanted to fight you. I don't like how you operate things. She cocked her head.
What?
She paused, rolling the thought around her head. Then she snorted, before laughing at Anon.
You...
She shook her head incredulously.
You wanted to fight me because you don't like the way I'm running things?
He nodded. It took her a moment to recompose herself, and she cleared her throat.
Well, that's just silly. You could have put in a formal complaint instead of trying to kill me.
She chuckled again.
So, what is it that you have a problem with exactly?
I heavily dislike the fact that I can't swear. I mean, the ponies have their swears and slurs like buck and zigger, but I can't drop an F-bomb when I stub my toe. I hate it. Anon finished with a huff. Faust waited for him to continue, for a myriad of complaints to spill from his mouth. But they never did.
Wait, that's it?
He nodded.
Are you fucking serious?
See, that's what I mean.
No, that's really all you had issues with? Nothing against harmony or chaos, no anger towards the intrinsic childishness of my creations? No distaste to the literal speciesisms that I've sown onto the planet?
Nah.
Wow. That's kinda messed up.
You created it, though.
Yeah, but I mean... That's cold, Anon.
He nodded, and she sighed.
I can't believe...
She just shook her head in disbelief.
Whatever, sure. I imagine as long as you make sure my little creations stay oblivious to the context of the words that you speak, you won't be beamed out of existence by Hasbro.
She let him go from her magic. He stood up and rubbed his head.
Is that all?
Yep. She blew air out of her nose and shrugged.
You confuse me, Anon.
She stomped her hoof, and for a moment the sound of wind chimes filled the air. After it passed, she looked at the human.
You should be able to swear. Go ahead, try it.
I hope you get mega AIDS, you fat cunt. She flinched away.
Sweet glory, Anon, I said try it! You didn't need to hurt my feelings.
Sorry, I'm just excited. Look, do you know how pent up I've been?
Just tone it down. I'm gonna send you back now.
Her horn glowed, and a vortex started to swirl around Anon. After a moment, he was almost entirely engulfed, but not enough so that Faust couldn't see his grin. Sayonara, Nick! He was then gone with a pop. Faust believes that she had made a grave error. Yeah, Faust made a real grave damn error, especially since Anon can now say the N-word in Equestria. Oh boy, now that's gonna be one hell of a shit show. Anyway, let's get on over to our prim and proper donators. Top donators, Dash of Evergreen, Peter Coulthard, J Tin Man, Darkside, and Ponyman. CourierCruz CI, Delta Omega, Strix, Runescythe 9852, Dospo, Rhiny Dragonwolf, Hunter Norman, Austin Roland, Secret Moon, Tall Rasha, The Toilet Snake, Sword Brethren Mordred, Cerberus, Goulash Eating Hazar, Starlight Glimmer, Squiddy Boy, David E. Sanchez, Soul Dragon, Gaggy, Trey, Shadow Drake, Joe Piercy, Alex F., Rainbow Dash, Teal'c Anderson, TV Killer, John Becker, Leon Reynolds, Raven Speedster, Zach Krakau, and Mr. ECU. Thank you all very much for watching this video. Live life to the fullest, and watch out because Anon can now say the N-word.